The Drax's ship graveyard loomed ahead, a massive graveyard of twisted wrecks and dead hulks, orbiting the cold remains of a long-dead world. Arlen Cade tightened his grip on the flight controls of the Vanguard, his aging salvage vessel. The hum of the engines thrummed through his bones as he guided the ship through the field of debris, careful not to clip the jagged hulls of forgotten war machines. "This place gives me the creeps," muttered Ralek, his first mate, as he peered out of the viewport. "I don't get why you're so obsessed with this rust bucket." Arlen didn't answer. His eyes were locked on the target, a massive, dormant warship drifting silently in the void. The hull was scarred, its once pristine plating dulled by centuries of exposure, but even in ruin, it was a beast. "Relic 7, he whispered. The name was given by scavengers who dismissed it as a dead hulk, another useless artifact from humanity's long-extinct past. He wasn't convinced. His research had led him here, to a ship unlike any other. He eased the Vanguard closer, the floodlights washing over the dreadnought's hull. Strange golden etchings, worn with age, shimmered faintly beneath the dust of time. The aliens had no idea what they were looking at. But Arlen did. "This isn't just any warship," he murmured. "This was the pinnacle of human engineering." Ralek sighed. "You said that about the last one." Arlen ignored him, activating the docking thrusters. As the ship latched onto the ancient hull, the airlock cycled open with a hiss. Cold, stale air greeted him as he stepped onto the Relic's deck. The inside was a tomb, dark corridors stretching into shadows, walls lined with the bones of forgotten machinery. His boots echoed against the floor as he advanced. He ran a gloved hand over the metal, feeling the subtle vibrations beneath his fingertips. This ship wasn't dead. Not entirely. A flickering terminal caught his attention. He hurried to it, brushing away layers of dust. Most of the systems were inactive, but a single diagnostic screen pulsed weakly, lines of garbled data scrolling endlessly. He exhaled sharply. "There's power. Minimal, but it's there." Ralek's voice crackled through his calm. "You sure that's a good thing?" Arlen smirked. "It means this ship isn't just a relic. It's sleeping." A metallic groan reverberated through the ship, deep and guttural, like the exhalation of something ancient stirring. Ralek swore. Arlen's pulse quickened. He tapped commands into the console, trying to access the mainframe, but the system resisted, like an old beast reluctant to wake. Then, deep within the ship, a whisper. Faint. Almost imperceptible. "Captain." Arlen froze. His breath hitched. The sound hadn't come from the comms. It had come from the ship itself. Did you hear that?" he asked. "Hear what?" Ralek's voice was tense. Arlen swallowed hard. He wasn't imagining it. Someone, was here. He pressed another command. A new prompt flickered across the screen. "Identify Captain." His fingers hovered over the keyboard. He typed his name. Error. Unrecognized. The whisper returned, softer this time. "Who are you?" He exhaled shakily. His heart pounded. "My name is Arlen Cade," he said firmly. "I'm here to wake you up." A pause. Then the lights flickered. A low, pulsing hum resonated through the deck. Systems that had lain dormant for centuries shuddered to life, weak but present. "Arlen, what the hell is happening in there?" Ralek demanded. He didn't answer. He was staring at the screen as new text scrolled across it. "Power reclamation, 2%. System analysis in progress. Captain. Not found. Not found. But not rejected either." A sudden proximity alarm blared through his helmet. Ralek cursed. "We've got company." Arlen bolted back toward the airlock. Through the viewport, he saw the incoming fleet, small scavenger craft, followed by something worse. A sleek, black-hulled battleship bearing the sigil of the Galactic Enforcers. His blood ran cold. Kelzar. The High Warden himself had arrived. "Arlen!" Ralek's voice was tight with fear. "We need to get out of here. Now." Arlen stared at the screen one last time. The ship was waking up. Slowly. too slowly. But it wasn't dead. Not yet. He turned to the whispering corridors, voice firm. I'll be back. And the ship, in the barest thread of a whisper, replied, I will wait. Arlen stood at the viewport of the Vanguard, watching the black-hulled warship drift into position like a silent predator. Its flanks bristled with weapon arrays, and its sleek design spoke of ruthless efficiency. The insignia, a silver fawn coiled around a star, marked it unmistakably. The galactic enforcers had arrived. Relek's voice broke through the calms. That's Kelzar's ship. He doesn't show up for scrap. He shows up to make things disappear. Arlen's stomach tightened. He gambled on time to wake the ship, time to uncover its secrets. That luxury was gone. Kelzar's voice crackled over wideband frequencies, cold and clipped. To all vessels in the Diraxis field, this zone is under enforcer lockdown. Any interference with forbidden relics will be met with immediate force. Disengage and vacate. The channel cut off, leaving a heavy silence. Ralek's nervous whisper filled it. What do we do? Arlen's fingers drummed on the console. He couldn't leave. He couldn't fight. He needed more time. Patch me through, he said quietly. Ralek hesitated. Arlen! Do it! The channel opened with a hiss. This is Commander Arlen Cade, he began, steady but respectful. I formally request salvage rights under Galactic Code 27. Article 14b. Kelzar's response came swift and sharp. Commander Cade, human relics are not salvage. They are classified as technological hazards. You will release your hold and vacate immediately. Arlen pressed on. The vessel in question shows no threat indicators. I'm running a containment assessment. Your assessment is irrelevant. Kelzar's tone hardened. These artifacts have no place in the galaxy. Their time has passed. They will not rise again. Arlen clenched his fists. His voice dropped. You're afraid. A pause. Then Kelzar's voice, quieter now, dangerous. You misunderstand. I am not afraid of dead things. I am afraid of what happens when fools like you wake them. The channel closed. Ralek exhaled sharply. That could have gone better. Arlen's mind raced. The dreadnought was stirring, but slowly. Systems at 2% power were barely enough to breathe, let alone fight. He needed to buy time. Ralek, start broadcasting interference pulses. Scramble their scans. Make it look like we're hauling junk. Ralek's fingers flew across his console. Got it. But that'll only confuse them for a few minutes. That's all I need. Arlen grabbed his helmet and sealed it. You're not. I am. He keyed the airlock. Keep the engines warm. The corridor of the relic welcomed him with silence. Lights flickered faintly now, more consistent than before. The ship was trying. He reached the core chamber, where the diagnostic display flickered with sluggish data streams. Power 4%. Systems incomplete. AI core fragmented. A new prompt appeared. Voice identification attempt number 2. Arlen swallowed. He placed his palm on the reader and spoke firmly. Arlen Cade. Descendant of Earth Fleet Command. There was a pause. The lights dimmed, then pulsed. Lineage confirmed. Integrity 67%. Authorization provisional. A faint voice filled the chamber. You are not the one I remember. I know, Arlen said quietly. But I need you. We both need each other. Outside, the comm crackled with a new message. You have 2 minutes to disengage, Kelzar announced. Arlen's pulse quickened. I don't have time to convince you, he said to the ship. Help me, or they will destroy us both. The hum deepened. Energy lines flickered along the walls, ancient circuits reawakening. Partial control protocols unlocked. Arlen grinned. That's more like it. He ran to the auxiliary command interface. His fingers flew over the console, initiating weapon diagnostics. Turrets along the hull slowly swiveled, ancient cannons groaning to life. Back on the Vanguard, Ralek shouted. Arlen, they're charging weapons! Arlen's breath hitched. Keep them guessing. Outside, the Enforcer flagship powered up. Blue-white light gathered along its main cannon. Kelzar's voice rang out. 1 minute. Arlen closed his eyes. He couldn't outgun them. But maybe he didn't have to. He turned back to the console. Can you jump? The AI's voice returned, sluggish but determined. Not yet. Power insufficient. Repairs underway. A tremor rocked the hull. Warning klaxons blared. The Enforcers had begun targeting calibration strikes. Ralek's voice broke through. We can't hold. They're lining up for the kill shot. Arlen gritted his teeth. His hand hovered over a console switch labeled in ancient human glyphs, Emergency Overdrive. Can you survive a force surge? Possibility, 47%. Arlen smiled grimly. Good enough. He slammed the switch. The dreadnought roared. Energy flared down its spine, arcing across the hull. Turrets locked onto the Enforcer fleet, their targeting arrays ancient but flawless. In the void, a pause. The Enforcer fleet hesitated. Then Kelzar's voice returned, tinged with something Arlen hadn't heard before. Doubt. What have you done? Arlen keyed his mic. Woken up history. The Enforcer flagship's weapons fired. Beams of searing light tore toward the dreadnought. Arlen braced himself. The relic shields flared, weak, sputtering, but they held. Power levels? Arlen gasped. 9%. Climbing. Outside, scavenger ships scattered. The Enforcer fleet pulled back slightly, wary. Kelzar's voice, quieter now. You have no idea what you're playing with. Arlen's reply was soft but steady. I think I do. He turned to the core chamber. The ship's systems were stabilizing. Ancient power flowed. And in the silence that followed, the dreadnought spoke clearly for the first time. Captain, orders? Arlen's breath caught in his throat. The ancient voice was clearer now, steady but weighted with age. Captain, orders? He swallowed. Defense protocol. Full systems priority to shields and propulsion. No offensive action unless fired upon. Acknowledged. Prioritizing shields and propulsion. Repair subroutines initiated. Energy pulsed deeper through the ship's veins. Dim corridors lit with purpose. Old mechanisms whirred, clanked, and found life after centuries of silence. Ralek's voice broke through the calm, breathless. Arlen, the Enforcer fleet's repositioning. They're not retreating. I didn't expect them to. Arlen's mind raced. They had minutes, maybe seconds, before the Enforcers made their move. The dreadnought, despite its awakening, was nowhere near full strength. This wasn't about winning a fight. It was about survival. He pulled up structural schematics. Hull integrity was at 70%. The reactor was stable but starved. The ship could run. Barely. But it couldn't outpace an Enforcer fleet, unless... Ship, do you still have short-range displacement capability? Emergency jump systems functional. Calibration required. Accuracy, low. Accuracy isn't the priority. He exhaled. Start calculations. Outside, the Enforcer flagship's main cannon powered up again. The void between them shimmered with unstable energy. Kelzar's voice returned, quieter, colder. Arlen Cade, I will give you one final chance. Disengage from that relic and surrender. You are meddling with power beyond comprehension. Arlen keyed his mic. His voice was steady, but beneath it steel. I think you understand exactly what I'm meddling with. That's why you're here. That's why you're afraid. A pause on the channel. I am not afraid, Kelzar replied. But the tremor in his voice betrayed him. The transmission ended. On the relic's console, jump drive readiness climbed slowly. 18%. 20. Ralek's voice cracked with tension. Arlen, they're charging! Main batteries locked on us. I know. He turned toward the console. Divert all auxiliary power to jump prep. Confirmed. Warning, hull vulnerabilities increasing. Another tremor rocked the deck. The dreadnought shuddered, but the shields absorbed most of the impact. Shields at 49%. The enforcers weren't testing anymore. They were preparing to strike with full force. Ralek's voice wavered. I can't hold them off. We're exposed. Just hang on. 29%. 30. Not fast enough. Arlen's gaze fell on the auxiliary core controls. An idea surfaced, reckless and desperate. He tapped the ship's console. Can you accept external power feeds? Affirmative. Manual coupling required. His hands trembled as he connected a power relay from the Vanguard to the Dreadnought's secondary intake. It would drain his own ship's reserves, but it didn't matter. Either they both lived, or neither did. He keyed his comm to Ralek. Brace yourself. He activated the transfer. The deck hummed violently as fresh power surged through ancient conduits. The Dreadnought responded instantly. Displays flickered from red to amber. Repair systems accelerated. Jump systems calibration accelerated. Estimated readiness in 45 seconds. But the enforcers had seen the surge. Their flagship pivoted, realigning its massive cannon. Kelzar's final broadcast echoed through the void. Goodbye, Arlen Cade. The energy beam fired. For an instant, Arlen's vision went white. The Dreadnought's shields flared, buckling under the immense force. Hull alarms screamed. Sections vented into space. Deck plating warped. Shields at 9%. Structural integrity compromised. The deck tilted. Arlen was thrown against the console. He forced himself upright, blood pounding in his ears. Status! He gasped. Jump systems, 93%. Ready in 10 seconds. He slammed his fist on the console. Come on, come on! Another impact rocked the hull. Smaller ships fired concentrated blasts, picking at weaknesses. Hull breach in port sections. Damage containment initiated. The countdown ticked lower. Ralek's voice cracked over the channel. Arlen, they're swarming us! He looked up at the vastness outside. Enforcer interceptors swarmed toward the Dreadnought like angry wasps. 5 seconds. 4. 3. Kelzar's ship charged its weapon again. 2. 1. Jump drive ready. Execute! Arlen roared. The universe twisted. Space around the Dreadnought bent and folded, the laws of physics temporarily set aside as the ship tore itself through dimensions. The Enforcer fleet vanished in a swirl of light and distortion. The jump ended with a violent lurch. Silence fell. Arlen coughed, struggling to catch his breath. Warning lights flickered all around, but the ship held. Jump complete. Location, unknown sector. Scans in progress. Ralek's voice broke through, hoarse but alive. We made it! Arlen let out a shaky breath. We made it! The ship's systems stabilized. Across the massive interior, groaning metal settled into uneasy quiet. Power level stabilizing at 24%. Core damage minimal. Repairs ongoing. Arlen sat back against the console, heart still racing. The AI's voice returned, softer now. Captain, I have questions. Arlen chuckled dryly, wiping sweat from his brow. So do I. He stood, wincing from bruised ribs, and looked out into unfamiliar stars. First, he said quietly, where are we? Unknown region. Gravitational anomalies detected. No current threats. Ralek's face appeared on a cracked monitor. Arlen, I thought we were dead. So did I. He turned back to the console. What's your designation? A pause. Vessel name, Nox Eternum. Command class, Human Apex Warship. Mission protocol, containment and defense of pre-fall technologies. Captain deceased. Arlen exhaled. Well, you've got a new one. The ship's voice carried warmth now, faint but unmistakable. I will follow. Arlen allowed himself a moment. The impossible had happened. But in the back of his mind, one thought burned clear. Kelzar wasn't done. He would follow. And Arlen had only just begun to understand the power he'd woken. Arlen stood at the viewport, staring into the unknown. The stars here were unfamiliar, burning with strange hues, some flickering unnaturally as if twisted by old gravitational scars. Even the void felt heavier. Ralek's voice crackled through the calms. This sector, it's not on any chart. Arlen nodded slowly, though Ralek couldn't see him. I didn't expect it to be. The Nox Eternum rumbled quietly beneath his boots, ancient systems working to rebuild themselves after the brutal escape. The hum wasn't mechanical, it felt alive. Responsive. Almost like breathing. Scans complete. No immediate threats. Subspace distortions detected. Distortions? Arlen asked. Residual energy signatures. This region was once a containment zone. Ralek's face appeared on the flickering monitor again. His skin was pale, eyes wide. Arlen, why would a containment zone exist here? This place feels wrong. Arlen didn't answer immediately. He stared out at the eerie, pulsating nebula beyond the viewport. We're standing in the graveyard of humanity's last secrets, he finally murmured. And they didn't trust anyone to find them. Ralek swallowed visibly. Long-range sensors detecting enforcer activity. Pursuit probability, 92%. Of course. Kelzar wouldn't let this go. Ship, Arlen said, his voice sharper now. What systems can we bring online before they find us again? Weapon arrays at 23%. Shield regeneration at 36%. Engines at partial thrust capability. Hyperjump drive offline. Not good. Ralek's voice was tight. We can't run. Arlen turned, a grim smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Then we make sure they wish they hadn't followed. The ship pulsed gently, almost approving. He turned to the tactical console. Bring up all tactical archives. I need to know what you can still do. Holograms flickered to life, devastating weapon systems, AI-controlled submunitions, planetary-class bombardment options. Most were grayed out, inert from disrepair. But one array glowed in amber, subspace tormentors. What are those? Arlen asked, frowning. Non-lethal disruption weapons. Capable of destabilizing enemy warp fields, navigation systems, and artificial intelligence cores. He smiled. Perfect. Prepare targeting solutions for any approaching fleet. Acknowledged. Ralek hesitated. Arlen, you're serious about this? They'll come in numbers. Their arrogance is their weakness. Arlen's eyes hardened. We'll show them what human war doctrine used to mean. Minutes passed. The hum of the ship deepened. More systems flickered to life. Long-range contact detected. Multiple signatures. Enforcer fleet. Arrival in 6 minutes. Arlen took a slow breath. He opened a channel to the Vanguard. Ralek, you still with me? Ralek's reply was soft but resolute. I didn't come this far to run. Good. I need you to keep relays stable. Feed every drop of power from the Vanguard into the Dreadnought. No matter what. Understood. The channel closed. Arlen faced the console, his reflection ghosting against the holographic projections. He wasn't just a scavenger anymore. He was holding the line between forgotten power and those who wanted it buried forever. The AI spoke softly. Captain, do you trust them? Not even a little. Do you trust yourself? Arlen hesitated. His voice was quieter this time. I have to. The ship responded by dimming the lights, diverting every scrap of power into weapon charging sequences. Enemy fleet entering sensor range. Arlen keyed open a broad frequency channel. His voice rang out clear and steady. This is Captain Arlen Cade of the Nox Eternum. You are entering restricted space. Turn back. There was silence. Then Kelzar's voice, filled with contempt. You should not exist. Arlen narrowed his eyes. Neither should you. The Enforcer fleet advanced, ignoring his warning. Energy signatures bloomed as their ships prepared to fire. Lock confirmed on 10 hostile vessels. Tormentor arrays primed. Fire! Arlen ordered. The void lit with arcs of pale energy. Invisible pulses spread like ripples through water. Enforcer ships shuddered violently. Their formations broke apart as their NAV systems spasmed, causing them to veer erratically. AI subroutines failed. Enemy vessels in disarray. Arlen smiled grimly. But Kelzar's flagship held steady. Flagship maintaining course. Shields at maximum output. Kelzar's voice cut through the chaos. You are clever, human. But not invincible. The flagship's main cannon charged, targeting the Nox Eternum. Arlen's jaw tightened. Warning, main cannon lock-on detected. Can we survive a direct hit? Probability, 8%. Not good enough. Arlen slammed a fist on the console. Reroute all power from offensive systems to forward shields. Full concentration. No dispersion. Confirmed. Forward shields at reinforced capacity. Kelzar fired. The beam struck like a spear of concentrated rage. The dreadnought's shields flared white-hot, bending and distorting but holding, barely. The entire vessel screamed under the pressure. Shields at 14%. Hull stress critical. The ship trembled, but it endured. Arlen's voice rasped. Counterattack. The ship launched focused bursts of tormentors directly at the flagship. The pulses struck with brutal precision. Kelzar's vessel buckled, its weapons arrays shutting down. The massive ship drifted powerless. Enemy flagship systems failing. Arlen leaned against the console, breathing hard. Kelzar's voice came one last time, strained and bitter. You don't know what you've awoken. It will destroy you. Arlen replied softly. Maybe. But it's mine to face. The channel went dead. The remaining enforcer ships scattered, retreating into hyperspace. Silence filled the void. Arlen collapsed into the command chair, exhaustion hitting him like a wave. The AI spoke gently. We are alone. For now. He stared out into the swirling void of this strange, forbidden sector. There would be others. There would be bigger threats. But humanity's legacy was no longer buried in the dust. It was awake. And roaring.